that we're doing some work on.
Okay.
Uh,
By the way, we are on YouTube, just FYI.
Okay. Mark is the chairman on?
Yep, he's
He's
there.
right there. He's on the, there he is. Yeah.
All right.
You're doing fine. Keep going.
By the way, we are on YouTube.
All right, Mary. Mark is the chairman on?
Yep, he's
He's
there.
right there. He's on the, there he is.
Yeah, but you're
All right.
doing fine, Cliff. Keep going.
Keep going.
All right, Mary. Mark is the chairman on?
Yep, he's there.
Yes, he's there.
Yeah, but you're doing fine, Cliff. Keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah, keep going, Cliff. We've done planning. What's next?
All right, Mary, you're up. Go up and up.
She here?
We can't hear you, Mary.
Muted.
No,
Or she's not here?
no,
Here.
Okay.
she's not. No, we'll come back. We'll come back to you. We'll come back to you, Mary. She's just mouthing it, thinking that we can't hear her, so she doesn't have to do it. Yvonne, finance. Unmute yourself.
Everybody, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So basically, in finance, what we've done is we discussed, and you'll find the reserve policy that we went over for the county. And there's budget mods for last year within the finance committee, excuse me. And then the, what is that? Well, it ends up falling into government ops. There's a, the other resolution for reserve dollars, and can't remember what the title of it was. What is it? It is Madison County's investment policy. That's right. So other than that, that's where we spent most of the time on the finance committee this month.
Any questions, Yvonne? Mary, are you working yet? No, still can't hear you.
I want to hang up and call back in.
Administration oversight, Dave?
There's a couple of, mostly it was on the Board of Elections. There was a resolution for Dominion, the voting machines. That one's going to get pulled. The other one was, Yvonne brought it forward. They're going to vote on the Clockville Water District at the Lincoln Firehouse. And then after this vote, they want to move it up to the town offices, their building. And pretty much other than Lori with bids and so on like that. So that's about it for mostly Board of Election stuff.
Hey, Dave,
Yes,
why are we pulling the Dominion one?
Mary said this morning that we were going to pull it, and I didn't have time
Okay.
because I had an appointment. So we're
Okay,
going to pull that one.
okay, okay.
And if we have time between now and regular meeting, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Any questions of Dave? All right, Health and Human Services, Alex, you on?
I think so.
Okay,
Quite a few this time, but most of our meetings are questions by Eric to tell me how good or bad we're doing. But most of them are renewals of agreements, annual agreements. And there's one appointment to the County Youth Board.
Did I speak too loud? Okay, I didn't want to disturb you either.
Was that a question? I couldn't hear.
no, I think it was just somebody talking.
Oh, okay. Nope, that's basically all I have.
Okay, any questions of Alex? Criminal Justice? Pete?
No, don't have anything, Cliff. Nothing out, no resolutions that are causing any chaos, nothing. It's all quiet.
All quiet, and so how we like it. That's right. Just like Roger used to run it. Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
They just, there's good reports continue out of the assigned council with Dave DeSantis. We received some more funding for that. We did if you recall, we did do a half position resolution that really needed to be done as far as picking up some of that office work and implementing what we're trying to accomplish. And as far as EM, Dan reported again, success of the additional hires on EMT and the vaccination pods, but of course, isn't being implemented because of the lack of vaccine, but everybody was pleased on how smooth and well-oiled the machine that was when we had the help to make it happen. So that's about it for me.
Okay.
Pete, I have a question. Oops.
Yes.
Yeah, so last week was the first week of Morrisville's pod, is that right? Or is it, I've lost track of what week I'm in. Did we do vaccinations in Morrisville last week?
Eric will give his report in a few minutes.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Okay. Highways, buildings and grounds, Ron?
Yeah, things have been going pretty smooth. We did have a few individuals with COVID, but they weren't real sick, but they were out of work a little bit. And other than that, maintenance, they've been doing their pretty much the standard stuff. We got the elevator coming in next month, so that's a big thing, that we'll have the new elevator. Highway, the big thing is, Joe being the state president, so that's a great thing that we have going on. And other than that, things are smooth.
If you're in the town of Eaton and you're over on Route 26, take a little drive over to the highway department's really coming on great. We saw a video of it, a live video of it the other day, last week, and it's real impressive looking.
You can see it like from Heritage Farm over there.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Okay, Ron, thanks. Solid waste, Jim?
Yeah, there's some routine resolutions in the packet, but the big concern continues to be we're having to haul leachate because of the problems the city of Oneida sewer plant is having. It's costed us a lot of money. And while I can't go into the specifics of stuff that would have required executive session discussion on some of the legal issues, our biggest concern is it appears that the problem is much bigger. It never was related to our leachate. And we don't know when the city of Oneida is going to be able to start taking our leachate again. And it's expensive to be hauling it. And even if we're charging them, which we are, for the biosolids they bring in, it's barely covering half the cost of what's costing us to haul. So it's really a problem. We put in a sewer like at our own expense a few years ago with the intent not only benefit the city of Oneida because it allows people to potentially link up, but it also was going to save us money on trucking. And even though it was supposed to be set up in a way where it could how to regulate the flow, when you have wet days or you have snowy days or stuff like that, we get a lot of leachate built up. We got to truck it. And right now it's costing the county a lot. You'll see our budget, our fund transfer in your packet that's trying to cover some anticipated costs, but boy, it's going to really hit us hard if this doesn't get resolved soon. So that's our big concern. Also, we are continually evaluating our transfer stations and try to make them more cost effective. And one of the things that was recommended we've implemented is we've discontinued the recycling of waste oil because the problem with the quality of the waste oil that was being recycled, the problems with hauling it, the problems with storing it, and then once we got it up to our facility at the landfill where we actually burn some waste oil, a lot of it's not usable. It has to be filtered. It's a real complex mess. It turns into hazardous waste. And also because anyone you buy oil from is required to take that oil back, literally anyone. So all these people who are changing their own oil, they can just go to whoever they purchase their oil from and they have to take it back. That whether it doesn't matter whether it's a gas station, a service station, they're all supposed to make arrangements. And there's also people out there who are looking for used waste oil, like Bill Zupan there, who burns like 1,000 gallons of it just to heat his office in his business. So there's a lot of other uses. So we thought it made more sense to have people make use of existing recycling and problems with us dealing with it were outweighed by the fact there's a lot of providers all over the county that will take it. But we got one inquiry or one complaint about it. So,
Okay. Jim, thanks. Okay, Evan McPlus?
Yeah, we did have a meeting this past month, and the revised grant application was submitted on time. Senator Schumer did a nice press release recounting his conversations with, I think this was Secretary of Agricultural designee Vilsack, pointing out Madison County's project and encouraging him to support it. And, I think that's probably just a really good sign that we've got support from the administration to fund our project. So fingers crossed, we're going to find out sometime soon, and we'll get to work on the project. It still would still serve more than 1,000 new households in the county, so it would have a positive impact. So
definitely.
we're optimistic. That's all I
I
can
gotta
tell
tell
you.
you, man, we have people at my Zoom meetings, the ones who are having the most trouble sometimes, the Time Warner people or a Spectrum. So go figure. Yeah. You may find a lot more interest out there than you realize.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting as the spring rolls out and the contractors come back and they hook up all this cable that they laid throughout the county. And we'll see how many more houses are going to be served by Spectrum, but that won't change the economics of it for the average person. Without competition, people are still going to pay more than they should for Spectrum service. So hopefully our project, when it gets approved and built, will really create competition and lower those prices. And
What's the timeline for when you'll hear?
I don't know.
Okay, because
That was gonna be one of my questions.
Mark may have some more on
Yeah,
that.
I emailed the USDA contact yesterday, and he said that the applications are still in review and that he doesn't have a timetable. He's hoping soon.
So the one question I have, because I was surprised to hear this, but our code enforcement officer last year had an incredible amount of activity because there's a lot of people moving up from the city because of COVID, and some wanted to stay here, not just temporarily. And their only issue, because a lot of them could work remotely, was, internet access. So we could actually see a nice economic benefit for our county, as well as helping the people who live here right now, if we could get this grant, for sure.
No other questions? Chairman, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, Eric, you want to give your report?
Sure.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Start with some numbers and then I'll address some of the other questions that were raised already. Our numbers are heading in the right direction, which is a good sign. I'll give yesterday evening my most recent numbers. We had 10 new cases yesterday. Our 7-day average is about 15 new cases a day. Put that in perspective, exactly a month ago, we were at 53 new cases a day.
Right.
We're currently we have 109 active cases. A month ago, we had 386. So at present, we have 0 nursing home residents reported being positive. So that's really good news as well. Unfortunately, we are at 85 deaths, but our hospitalization capacity is holding steady. The number of people hospitalized is down a third of what it was a month ago. So all those are good numbers.
Yeah.
In terms of testing, we continue to use Upstate and Essentia to come on campus to do testing on a weekly basis. However, the testing numbers are dropping off significantly. Over the holidays, we were seeing about 196 to 200 tests each week. Our last testing last Thursday, I think we had 51 people tested. So it's dropped off considerably. We are scheduled to do testing through the end of February, and they've verbally committed to continue into March, but we're going to play that by ear to see how things continue to go. We did test employees as well. We've had 2 testing events with employees. I don't have the total numbers. It's roughly around 80 employees have been tested. All came back negative, so that's positive as well. I'm gonna spin on that, but in terms of vaccinations, we have as of, we actually have a clinic running as we speak right now, doing second doses. Once that is completed, we'll have completed about 3,724 doses we've administered so far to date after today. Of those, 2,023 are first doses and 1,700 second doses. We get allocated on a weekly basis. We find out week to week 100 doses from the state to vaccinate people in the 1B essential worker category. And just to put that in perspective, teachers are part of the 1B. We have over 2,000 teachers in Madison County. It'll take 20 weeks just to do teachers in 1B with that allotment of vaccine each week. So I want to put that in perspective.
Well,
The
are
governor-
food workers also part of 1B, Eric?
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
Not for, well, he opened it up to restaurant workers and taxi drivers, but we still have to do fire, police,
Right.
teachers, grocery store workers, those people that were already identified as eligible initially. And then he just opened it up to people with comorbidities.
I saw that, yeah.
And so,
Yeah,
our vaccine supply hasn't changed, but he continues to open up more people to vaccinate. We did get an extra 100 doses this week to vaccinate individuals, staff and residents of OPWDD, those residential homes. That clinic will run this Thursday to vaccinate staff and residents of those facilities. We have I think to Evan's question about Morrisville, we had our first Morrisville site or vaccination clinic last week on the 4th. We did 105 vaccines. We have our second one tomorrow at the Morrisville site, same 100 doses. One of the things the state has done is they give us 100 doses for 1B, they give us 100 doses for OPWDD. And yesterday we found out that the excess vaccines that were originally going to the hospitals are now going to be reallocated and given to local health departments to help with the comorbidity groups. But the vaccine we get for that can only be used for comorbidities. So the challenge with the comorbidities
Eric.
will be to get proof that they have them. They'll have to show.
What define a comorbidity?
Pardon?
Define a comorbidity.
Define?
Yeah, define it. Give an example of how someone would be just a doctor's recommendation or?
Yeah, so the comorbidities can include cancer, chronic kidney disease, pulmonary diseases, intellectual and developmental disabilities, including Down syndrome, heart conditions, immunocompromised, obesity, pregnancy, sickle cell or kind of blood disorders, type 1 or 2 diabetes, cerebral vascular disease, neurological conditions, and liver disease. They have to provide, one of the state said that it's up to the locals to determine what evidence or proof there will be. We are looking to require a signed note from a provider saying that this individual has that specific condition in order to prove eligibility. And one of the reasons we're doing that is the state's requiring us to keep that information on file, and we are subject to an audit by the state to ensure that we're vaccinating eligible people. So that's supposed to start on the 15th. I have no idea how much vaccine will get allocated for that. The other things we're working on, first of all, I wanted just to shout out to county employees that are continuously help us and volunteer for our vaccination clinics, our contact tracing. They've been a tremendous asset and extremely valuable and helpful, and we greatly appreciate that. Some of the other things that we are asked to do that the governor has graciously given to the locals is that a high-risk sports guidance. I can tell you that 10 out of the 13 school districts in Madison County selected not to go with high-risk sports. 3 districts did. That's DeRuyter, Morrisville, Eaton, and Oneida. The governor also asked us to approve wedding venues. So we are reviewing guidance. There is no state guidance on that. So we're trying to figure out how we're going to look at that. and the guidance, and we'll be bringing that before the Board of Health for their review as well. And there's also a movement to review and revisit the quarantine guidelines for around the term approximate contact, approximate distance in the school setting. So those are the things we're currently looking at.
Eric, just a clarification, I talked to a couple of schools. For example, Chittenango, Cazenovia, Hamilton, and I want to say Madison, I'm not sure. They are participating, but they're not doing they're not doing it against other schools. They're starting practices, and then hopefully by March 1st, they will start playing other schools. But so they are doing something. They're doing practices and so on.
Yeah, schools can choose to do that if they so choose. And like I said, some did and some did not.
Mary, we skipped over you. Do you want to say anything about government apps?
Your mic must be broke.
Still can't hear you, Mary.
Sign language.
Right.
Try it with your phone, Mary.
Yeah.
Back to you, Chairman.
Hey, has anybody else got anything? Okay, we're good till 2 then.
Right.
Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman?
Who's saying Mr. Chairman?
Who's-
Bill
Bill
Zupan.
Zupan.
It's Bill
Yeah,
Zupan.
Yep, okay.
I
don't worry,
got one.
Can't find y'all on the screen.
Video's not on, Bill.
I apologize. I look better this way.
Where's the beat?
I've only got one concern, and that was your letter you wrote back to, believe it was the Hamilton Racism Group that started this whole discussion on the blue line flag matter. I believe that everybody has a right to express their concerns and petition the governmental boards to their concerns. And I think they should be treated with respect and decency and not being blown off with a cavalier attitude that you wrote the letter.
Bill, I don't think it was, Bill. I took, and the emails came from the board. There was 900 votes from the board, so I sent the letter back. It wasn't a matter of being cavalier. It was a matter of fact, and that's the way it was.
Well, no, it was your attitude in the writing of the letter.
Well, Bill, the
concern.
flag sat in front of my desk for 2 months before anybody noticed it, and I made clear why the flag was in front of my desk for 2 months. So,
John, I don't have a problem with you defending the flag. My problem was your tone of your letter, and that's all I'm trying to say.
okay, thank you. Is anybody else?
Yeah. I definitely have a problem, not only with the tone of your letter, but also the process. I do not believe that an email exchange between board members is anything equivalent to a democratic process where we discuss issues and hear all sides. I personally don't like to get involved in an email exchange. It isn't very helpful. You don't really get to hear what the nuances in people's voice, and you don't see their faces. You don't have any idea really what people's thoughts are in a more considered way. So, I chose not to respond, but we didn't have a vote, John. You just decided to tally it up on your own. And
You had a chance to email like everybody else, Evan.
And then take a
everybody else.
public action on behalf of the entire board. And I just think that's totally inappropriate. You didn't have the right to speak for us. You just didn't. We conduct business in public. Those emails were not public matters. That was a private exchange. And I just don't think you had the legal authority to act on behalf of the board without a full discussion.
Okay, thank
After
you,
this
Jan.
meeting, you will have that authority if the resolution passes, and that's fine. But that's what democracy is about.
Okay, we've had this discussion, you and I, before.
We sure have.
Yep, about you going around the board with different things.
I
Thank
have
you for that,
not gone around the
piling on.
board.
Thank you.
I
for
did not go
piling
around
on.
the board. I chose not to participate because I knew it was going to be a very divisive subject. Wasn't gonna change anybody's mind by doing it by email. But, you know, you chose to take a public stand on behalf of the whole board, and I just think that was inappropriate.
Okay, thank you. Is anybody else? Lauren, you're muted, Lauren.
Sometimes that's better. The flag that was in front of your has been removed, obviously. Now the only other police flag that's being shown on campus is at the jail. Is that correct?
What's that, Lauren? You're cutting out.
The only other flag, police flag that's flying right now, county property, is at the jail.
At the jail and the road patrol building.
And that's next to the jail.
Correct. It's out here, the old fireman's building.
Okay.
The other side of the parking lot.
Okay, that's it. Lauren, nothing else?
Yeah, thank you.
John, Rocky,
Who's
I got a flag flying in my home. Don't have one in my building. I think that personally, anybody who wants to fly a flag at their property, well, being useful to anybody else, they could do that. And that's just what I did. I flew the flag in my house and not in my building. I think we got to support our people, our enforcement. I have no problem with that, but it seems like we stirred a bunch of bees nests around here, and I don't know what happened. I think they have the right to speak, but we have a right to do what we want to do on our own personal property. But I don't know how this is going to come out with the county flying the flags. I just don't know, and I think it's just a big turmoil, and I don't like it. I don't know where it's going to end.
Well, I can kind of just give a background. I have to confess, John, I saw a flag in front of you, but because of my angle at Zoom, I didn't realize what kind of flag it was and didn't give it a lot of attention. I assumed it was American flag, but the first complaint I heard was we had a solid waste committee hearing actually on just the landfill, and I was a complaint filed by the person who came to actually file public comments about something related to landfill and noticed it there. That was probably, I think, in June maybe or July, I'm not sure, but anyway, that was the first complaint I heard. Then I heard from a few more constituents, and then we heard from Hark. I just think that it's unfortunate we didn't just simply go through the committee process and forward a resolution to whoever were the appropriate committees and have a discussion and then vote if that was something people felt strongly about. I personally think in this county, we have not had any divisive issues between police and the public. And whatever's going on outside of our region and our state, I don't know why it really is relevant. I just think it was too provocative. I wish we hadn't done it. Very simple.
Okay, this is really a discussion for the resolution when we get out to the board. Does anybody else have anything for committee as a whole? No? Okay, we'll be on at 2:00.
Remember, it's a different Zoom number, remember.